Chet Huntley reporting for 42 Hair Oil Tonic and ABC News.
Later, we'll tell you about that amazing ingredient, Jabarandi, with beneficial lanolin contained in 42 Hair Oil Tonic. Now we present transcribed Chet Huntley and his stimulating observations on the news of the day.
The other day, a young man from UCLA called to say that he wanted to offer an award to this reporter. Well, that's always a satisfactory and most pleasant thing to have happen to you, and it's not to be lightly regarded. So my counter-suggestion was that he come here this afternoon and say in public what he had to say. Therefore, may I present Mr. Ben Alston of UCLA. Ben?
Thank you, Mr. Huntley. I represent the UCLA chapter of Beta Sigma Tau fraternity. I think our fraternity can best be described by reading to you from the preamble to our Constitution. Seeking comradeship, believing that the ideal of fraternity is to level, not to raise barriers among people, understanding that our university, UCLA, our world, is best served by a spirit of brotherhood and active cooperation among free people, we, the students of UCLA, establish this Constitution of the fraternity, founded upon a brotherhood and democracy which transcends racial, national, and religious differences. Because you have proven yourself to be an outstanding proponent of these ideals, because you have proven yourself to be a fearless champion of the true democracy for which we all strive, and because our past association with you has shown us that you possess the true spirit of Beta Sigma Tau, we of the UCLA chapter, by unanimous action of the membership, and with the wholehearted endorsement of the National Executive, accepted you to honorary brotherhood. Take pleasure on behalf of our fraternity of honorary membership, which entitles you to all the rights and privileges of Beta Sigma Tau fraternity.
Ben Alston, I thank you and your fraternity for this commendation and for the honorary membership. I appreciate it, and I trust you will listen and observe and note to what extent I manage to live up to its inference of trust and confidence. This award comes from the college fraternity, as you have heard, ladies and gentlemen, Beta Sigma Tau. I should like to talk about college fraternities and Beta Sigma Tau in just a moment after this brief message from our announcer.
Men, you want facts, and here they are. Your hair and scalp need as much attention as your face. The first impression anyone gets of you is from your hair, so that you can have perfectly groomed hair that stays in place longer, that gives you an alive, handsome, vigorous look. Try the hair tonic that guarantees results or twice your money back. Formula 42 Hair Oil Tonic with beneficial lanolin and Jabarandi. It gives you the appearance you've admired in other men. Now, here is our guarantee test. You will agree that Formula 42 Hair Oil Tonic does more for your appearance than any other product of its kind, or we'll give you twice your money back. Yes, twice your money back. Formula 42 Hair Oil Tonic with beneficial lanolin and Jabarandi. That's Formula 42 Hair Oil Tonic at your favorite toiletries counter from 29 cents. Start your youngsters using 42 Hair Oil Tonic, and they'll thank you for it later. Now here again is Chet Huntley.
True, this subject of college fraternities and sororities is not perhaps of cosmic nor perhaps even thermonuclear proportions. But it's a live issue nevertheless, and it's one which has a very decided bearing on the attitudes of our young men and women in the formative and highly impressionable years of their lives. The fraternities and sororities of our colleges have been in need of some examination for a long time, and this examination is being undertaken at a somewhat accelerated rate. It should be obvious, I should think, that it falls upon some citizens in certain positions or endeavors or walks of life, and it falls upon some of our institutions particularly, to maintain a particular awareness of what the democratic process is, and to make certain that they practice it or implement it just a little better than other individuals and other institutions. And such is the American college or university. Is there any place in our national life where the basic tenets of the democratic way should be more clearly realized and more stubbornly practiced? The college or the university should be the showcase of American democracy, the advance guard, if you please, leading the rest of us toward a richer and more ideal fulfillment of what we have come to call the unfinished American dream. And yet, to put it quite bluntly, the college fraternity or sorority is in many cases a shocking repository of racial, economic, social, and religious bigotry. Here are some typical excerpts from the constitutions and bylaws of college fraternities and sororities. Members must be of the Aryan race and not of the black, Malayan, or Semitic race. How different is that, incidentally, from the rules of the German college clubs which Hitler used to his advantage. Candidates for pledgeship must not be of Mongolian, Malaysian, Negro, or Jewish blood. The words white Caucasian are found frequently in the constitutions and bylaws of the fraternities and sororities. In some cases, not only are Negroes, Jews, and Orientals disqualified, but Catholics are precluded too. My own fraternity has a clause in its constitution which, as I recall, precludes all but those of the Caucasian race, whatever that is. At least it did have that rule. Some time ago, this reporter wrote to the national headquarters asking that my name be stricken from the rolls until such time as that clause were removed. I received a reply containing the nonsensical advice that my name could not be stricken from the rolls because once a member, you're a member for life. Well, I think I've got a bit of news for the fraternity on that count. This is not to suggest for a moment that every college fraternity and sorority should rush out day after tomorrow and swear in a few representatives of every minority group within reach. But when a qualified member of a minority group comes along, one whose attributes and character and future might be appreciated by the other members of the fraternity, one with whom the members might care to associate, then that individual should not be barred because of his race, his color, or his national origin. One day it may well occur to some of the members of these fraternities and sororities on our campuses that the communists in Asia and Africa seem to be having considerable success in causing other peoples of the world, who outnumber us, incidentally, about 5 to 1, to hate and despise us. These present undergraduates on our campuses might wonder one day how and why this hatred is entertained, particularly as they prepare to send their own sons off to military service and possible combat. One very important reason for this hatred exists right in the college fraternity and sorority. To foreign students and to peoples of other lands, it's taken as a insists that he's carrying his well-known burden. It convinces too many foreign people that we in this country are living a lie and engaging in shameless hypocrisy. It's looked upon as part of the whole picture, the attitude of the white man toward the Chinese coolie or the Arab peasant or the African villager, the flogging with the white man's cane, the shouted orders, the whole air of superiority. If there's any truth in this world, it's the description of the present struggle as one for the minds of men. That being so, foreign students are coming to this country by the thousands. Every college campus in this country has foreign students attending every conceivable sort of class. We may rightfully and logically expect, therefore, these students to form the elite core of the leadership of those countries in the not-too-distant future. So what will be their attitudes about this country? To be sure, they'll be aware of our many splendid characteristics and refinements, but they'll also be aware, perhaps, of the bigotry that exists on the college campus. Put ourselves in the places of these men and women. How would we react if in some foreign country we were informed that there was something wrong with us that automatically precluded our identification with a group which we might wish to join? That sort of burning resentment can be transformed into hatred so very easily and so quickly. The pity of it is that on virtually every college campus there is a scientist who will point out what Harvard anthropology professor Ernest Albert Houghton has said. A race is a major physical grouping of mankind based upon the inheritance of combinations of anatomical features. Hence, members of the same race look somewhat alike, but they don't necessarily think alike or behave alike. Science knows no psychological or behavioral peculiarities certainly attributable to race, nor are there superior races ranked by scientific tests. All civilized nations consist of racially mixed people. Pure races are virtual abstractions. Aryans are not a race, but a linguistic classification. Jews are not a race, but a specially selected, inbred, cultural, and religious group. Racial prejudice and racial discrimination arise from human competitiveness, selfishness, and stupidity, not from real racial differences in psychology and behavior. There are probably more differences in temperament and behavior between fat men and thin men of the same race than between Negroes and whites of similar body builds or between Jews and Gentiles. End of the quotation. It was interesting to me, therefore, to become aware not too long ago of a new national college fraternity called Beta Sigma Tau. May I read, or repeat rather, a portion of its preamble. Seeking comradeship, believing that the ideals of fraternity are to level, not to raise barriers among men, understanding that our school, our country, our world is best served by a spirit of brotherhood among free men, we students and alumni of American colleges and universities establish this Constitution of Beta Sigma Tau, founded upon a brotherhood and democracy which transcends racial, national, and religious differences. It was in 1948 that Beta Sigma Tau was founded in Chicago. Today it's an expanding and growing national fraternity, opening its doors to Christian, Mohammedan, Jew, Hindu, or whatever, to white and Negro, Oriental or Indian, to rich and poor. At last count, it had 22 chapters in this country. Therefore, it seems to me that it's incumbent upon this reporter to turn this award around and to offer it to Beta Sigma Tau for its splendid and rewarding work in behalf of the brotherhood of man, in behalf of the American ideal or the American dream, and in behalf of our cause in this world struggle for the minds and for the sympathies of men. Until tomorrow, Chet Huntley reporting.
Chet Huntley is brought to you by Wilson and Company Meat Packers and the American Broadcasting Company. Ideal Dog Food, a product of Wilson and Company Meat Packers, is being featured at all leading grocers. This transcribed program came to you from Los Angeles. This is ABC Radio Network.
790 on your dial, KABC, AM and FM, Los Angeles.